In 2018, God of War was released and set a new standard for single-player games. It won multiple awards and was praised by many, including myself. Santa Monica Studios took a franchise that many had written off and breathed new life into it. To say it's hard to follow up to an instant classic is an understatement, and most of the time, next to impossible. God of War 2018 was so different from its predecessor and left you in awe as the Leviathan axe came flying back into Kratos' hand after he threw it. God of War Ragnarok doubles down on that feeling and gives you a lot of the same gameplay, but at the same time, feels new and rewarding. God of War Ragnarok is a journey that hits you in the heart within the first 5 minutes and is a roller coaster of action and emotions from start to finish. It's one of the best games of 2022 and one of the best sequels I have ever played. I'm Court Lalonde from Carpool Gaming, and this is God of War Ragnarok in review. I want to thank PlayStation Canada for providing a code for review. I will not discuss any story beats, so this will be a spoiler-free review. As I've said before, the gameplay is a lot of the same regarding fighting mechanics, but adds some new weapons throughout the story. You get to spend more time using more than just Kratos throughout the story, which gives you a fresh look at combat. As with all games, your characters develop this sort of video game amnesia, we like to call it, and your character starts from square one regarding skills, but does start off with a lot of the same weapons. The skill tree is back, but you need to craft and upgrade your weapons to unlock sections of that skill tree for that character. Your characters earn XP as you progress through the story after each encounter with enemies or when you finish missions. Collectibles are everywhere, along with Odin's Ravens that are back. As before, you need to destroy them. The puzzles that stand in your way are different than the previous game, and in some cases, add another level of difficulty in solving them. As in the last game, you won't be able to solve all puzzles as you will need specific skills to unlock them, and you will get them as you progress through the game. The boss fights are just as cinematic, but they've added some more elements to make them more and more complicated, like health regeneration, extra shields, but they've also made the parry more functional and is a must for most boss battles. The Valkyries are not back this time, but a new enemy type is, and is just as challenging scattered throughout the realm. You're still going to have your God of War gameplay that you love with the hack and slash and brutal finishers, but they go the extra mile in telling a story and making you fall in love with each character you meet, and feel like you know them by the end of it. I did find the pacing at one point to throw me off. I didn't know at the time it was setting me up for future, and it ended up being an integral part of the story. The dialogue in the game is like a guide when stuck on puzzles or as you progress to tell you if you have missed something or if even to make fun of you for collecting everything in the world. They do it in a way that I didn't notice but came to rely on as I progressed, making me laugh a little bit along the way. The variety of enemies could have been better as some of them feel the same and look a little reskinned, but it was only one set of enemies that I found throughout the world that was like this. Even after you roll credits, there's a lot more game left to play, and they've added some replayability. Not just finishing side missions that you might have not completed or collecting collectibles to get, they've added all new missions that take place after you've rolled credits. A feature I wish they used more was the DualSense. Sometimes the haptic triggers were used, but I felt there were far more opportunities that they could have added a more immersive experience, but they decided not to. The traversal is a lot more interactive and now has verticality to the combat that has been added. Make sure you read all the lore pages that you find from the collectibles because you will be sure to find some fun Easter eggs from all your fun PlayStation first-party games. I played it with my headphones, without, and surround sound on my sound system. The 3D audio on the headphones stood out to put the most of an added other element to the game, and you could hear your enemies around you. The sound design was well done from the menu to the game and added some extra touches. The music throughout the game built up suspense during cutscenes and tense moments in the game and added fun to those light moments. I still love the sound the Leviathan axe makes when you can catch it. It'll never get old. I played on my PS5 on a TV that offers 4K 120 FPS and tried all the different modes that were in the game. It features many graphical modes: favor resolution, which is 4K 30, favor performance, which is 60 frames per second, favor resolution, which is 4K 40 frames per second, and favor performance, which is 120 frames per second. But I'm thinking it's at a checkerboard. They also have a slider to have higher frame rate mode. I played on favor resolution, which is 40 4K, FPS, but with the high frame rate mode on, and I thought the game looked and ran beautifully. I did try it on favorite performance mode, and the game looked fantastic. But with all the elaborate set pieces and the different realms, I wanted to see the world in 4K. I hope we get an update like we did with Spider-Man Remastered that gives you the 4K 120 frames per second. The character models look realistic, but didn't look much of an upgrade from the 28 God of War, except for the better lighting and finer details. It wasn't the standout we saw with Horizon earlier in the year. The realm design and level design stood out for me and added another character to the game. The world felt more alive and added another level of immersion. I caught myself just panning the camera to see the beautiful detail in the world I was in. Not having a photo mode though hurt, but the developers are adding it after launch, as they've said. There are parts near the end of the game and boss battles where a photo mode would have been amazing. Making a game that has to follow up to a genre-defining game is no small task. Making it so it doesn't feel like the same, but also captures the same magic, also no small task. Santa Monica Studios does this and makes a game that it's better than its predecessor. I never thought I would say I was taken on an emotional journey playing a God of War game, but here we are. I loved God of War 2018, but didn't connect with me as it did in Ragnarok. They did a masterful job with this game, and I can't wait to see what they do next. You can find me at Court Lalonde on Twitter, or you can find me at Carpool Gaming, also on Twitter, and check out all Carpool Gaming content at youtube.com/carpoolgaming.